Hi everybody, this is Ron Torres bringing you a special Week 3 Microsoft Project Assignment video for BUSS420 Project Management. For Week 3 we have this Microsoft Project exercise which is due on Day 7, which is Saturday by midnight Eastern Time. And please post this as an attachment right up there in Angel. Now, in this assignment, act as if you've been selected as the project manager to lead the ABC UPS process modification project. And what you'll need to do is to recreate the work breakdown structure for that organization, and that information is found in your textbook in Chapter 5. And you want to put that into a Microsoft project schedule. Now, using the personnel table and the responsibility assignment matrix from your textbook of the same case study, right? Add the resources that match the appropriate tasks based on their area of expertise. And you'll also want to include the appropriate predecessor and successor task relationships right there in Microsoft Project. Now let's take a look at how you'll achieve this. And here are those three tables from that Chapter 5 case study. We have a table with the work breakdown structure that lists all the tasks and their descriptions, and the WBS codes. And we have the responsibility assignment matrix and the personnel table that shows you everybody involved with the project, their department, and their title. So we want to get all of that information into a single Microsoft project schedule, and I've posted up a template in the Angel system. And I am assuming that you've already installed Microsoft Project 2010, that 60-day free trial version. So you should be able to download that template and open it up in Microsoft Project 2010, and you'll see something like this, where all the fields are laid out for you. So here's what your final project will look like. You'll have the WBS codes in the first column, the task names in the second, the short description in the third column, all the resource names filled out in the fourth, and our predecessor relationships in the fifth column. So the job here is how do we map all that information from the tables in Chapter 5 into this Microsoft project schedule. So let's go to the work breakdown structure, and there you see highlighted all the work breakdown structure numbers, and we'll put those in the first column in our Microsoft project template. And we'll go to the first column of our work breakdown structure table in Chapter 5, and we'll put that under task name. And the last part of the work breakdown structure table from Chapter 5 will go in the description column in our Microsoft project. So once you have all of the task names and all of the descriptions typed into your Microsoft project, one thing you'll notice there in column 2 is that there's some indentation. So we have some parent tasks defined and some children tasks or subtasks defined. And if you just type it in from the table, what you most likely see on your computer screen is that everything is at the same level. So let's take a moment and indent these or create the levels or create the parent-child relationships between these activities. What you see here highlighted is that very first task is the superparent or the parent of all of the activities. And then as you get down through the list, you have parents with children, another parent with children, and we'll need to create that same structure. So the first thing you'll want to do is select right there where you see the long circle, rows 2 through the end, and highlight each of those rows. And then up there at the top you see a little circle, and you'll use that to indent everything but the first line. And we'll use the same technique to indent each one of these groups. So highlight lines 3, 4, and 5, and then indent those, and then highlight the next group and indent them, and the next, and so on. And that way you'll create the structure where you have the parent of all the activities, and then you'll have the major deliverables parents, and then each of the work packages for those major deliverables defined, and you'll have that structure. So now let's move on and start filling out some of the resource assignments. And we'll use that responsibility assignment matrix. and we'll assign those names to each of the subparents, deliverable 1 and 2 and 3 and so on. And there you have defined for you who is responsible, who has approval, who has support, and who requires notification. And you'll put those right in. All right, and for resource assignments for the children tasks, well, take a look at that personnel table and do your best job to assign the appropriate person to that specific activity. Now, I had a hard time doing that, but do your best and try and fill in a responsible person for each activity. So one of the last things we have to do is describe the predecessor relationships between these tasks. And that simply means which come first and which come second. And what we'll do there is we'll identify for each of the subparents the previous subparent in order to make these all sequentially flow from one to the next. So in line number 6, I identify the activity 2 as its predecessor. In line number 12, you can choose line number 6 or number 6 as its predecessor, and so forth, in order to create that sequential flow of different activities, one after the other. And I think that'll do it. You're basically done. But what you see out there with the question marks are the columns for the duration, the start date and the end date. That information was not provided to us there in that case study, so we don't know how long each of those activities takes. But we've defined the responsibilities, the predecessors, we've put in the task names and the descriptions, and the WBS codes, so this schedule's starting to look pretty good. So that'll just about do it. Save that as a local file on your own system, and then go back to Angel and attach that and put it in the Dropbox, and I'll take a look at that and grade it. Well, that'll do it, and if you have any questions, post them up in the questions forum in Angel, and I'll be sure to respond to them within 48 hours, usually a lot less. Thank you all.